get myself right up on out of here. I feel like a disgrace, I'm not really what I appear. I go home to my girl and I make nice seem nice. The fact that she don't know that I just put someone on. I don't like being here. I constantly live in fear. Could be gone at any time. When you live a life of crime, you have to face the music through the time. I'm trapped again, and fate as always hasn't wrapped again. I always get caught in my life of sin, but I just keep on going back again. You know I'm lost again, when all I wanted was to find a friend, someone that I can always depend on to help me find my life again. You know I'm trapped again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mayhem Tainment Live. I am your host, JD, and I'm alongside Mike D from Wrestling from the 313. Welcome back, Mike.
What's going on? What up, though? How you been?
I've been doing good. Unfortunately, we are not broadcasting to Rumble because there's another problem. Every time I try and go live to Rumble on either of my shows, there's always seems to be a streaming issue, so I'm still trying to work out what's going on with Rumble. So we are only live on Facebook and YouTube right now, so
okay.
Please make sure you leave us a comment while we're talking, and we'll include your comments in our discussion. And please hit the share button so that we can reach more people and continue to grow the show. Follow me. We're on Facebook, YouTube. Just search Mayhem Media. You can also follow us on Rumble and our storefront, bonfire.com/store/JDE Designs. That's with a Z at the end of it. We share a storefront with JD Designs because I'm not crazy. I'm not managing 3 storefronts. And pick yourself up some apparel. I'm wearing my new Mayhem Media shirt for this episode. So please check us out. And Mike D, where can people find you, and tell them about your storefront?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on X. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also go to wrestlingfromthe313shop.com. Get you some merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, phone cases. Got t-shirts for the ladies. Got a little something for everybody.
Nice. Excellent. Yes, we have the same. Well, we don't have the same yet for Mayhem Media, but we're working on expanding the storefront. We only got 2 2 designs right now for t-shirts and sweatshirts, but we are increasing our storefront here in the coming weeks. So make sure you stay tuned to that. Our sister show, the Boiling Point Podcast, they have all the extra apparel. Mike, we're going to talk about some more football.
All right.
So how do you think the season's going right now in a general sense at the moment?
Season has been going pretty good. I mean, of course, you got teams like the Eagles and the Chiefs that are going to stay on top. You got a couple surprises. You got the Detroit Lions, my hometown. You got the Miami Dolphins that have turned things around. You got teams like Cleveland that's trying to, make some noise. You got San Fran that's in there. Another team to look out for, the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud has been playing very, very well, to the point that he could possibly be an MVP candidate. So, it's been a real good season so far. I got no complaints.
Yeah, CJ Stroud. Yeah, where did he come from? I mean, he's a rookie, I guess. But the Dolphins definitely, I think they came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody expected them to be quite as strong, and the Lions too. I don't think anybody expected the Lions to be able to turn it around as quickly as they did. And how about the Bucks? I like that Baker Mayfield is doing good with the Bucks. Yeah, they're not having the greatest season, but it's good to see him out of Cleveland. And I think the Bucks can do something. They build a little bit more around Baker Mayfield, and I think they're going to have a good team as well in the next couple of seasons. I think the Bucks will look good too. I like Baker Mayfield, and I'm glad to see him get out of Cleveland, man.
Yeah.
I just didn't like I didn't like him in Cleveland. He's a good kid. He's a good quarterback, and Cleveland just seems like sometimes, especially at the quarterback position, man, it just chews you up and spits you back out again.
Yeah.
In Cleveland, you got to be real tough and real good to play in Cleveland, because they've look how long it's been since they've had anything good.
Yeah, it's been a minute, and I don't know if you heard, Deshaun Watson's out for the season. He injured his shoulder. He had to have surgery on that, so that's not a good situation right there. You just paid him all that money, and
they paid him so much money, man. They paid him so much money, and with all that controversy around him, I wrote an article on America's Tribune about what they were doing with that, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what they were paying him. I couldn't believe, with all the controversy around him, and now he's injured. That's unbelievable. It's been a season for some injuries, though. I mean, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. I mean, and he might be back before the end of the season, which is crazy in itself. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers, first game of the season, he tears his Achilles, and there was someone else.
Right.
I can't remember who it was now, but
yeah.
How about let's go talk about New England for a minute. They're the ones that really have some story going on right now. Mac Jones gets benched in a game, and now I just saw an article that he's actually going to be third string behind.
Yeah, that's not good. I didn't hear.
Yeah, I just saw that today. I didn't get to confirm the source or anything like that, but I mean, if that's true, I mean, he's getting knocked down to third string. That's terrible.
Yeah. But you know what? This is probably something that New England needs. Like, of course, it didn't work out with Mac Jones, but maybe they need to have a bad season so they could get a high draft pick to get the quarterback that they need. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's just the Patriots run is over, and it was over when Brady left. The moment Brady left, it was over. So it's just like, for people to be expecting Belichick to do what he did with Brady, he's people expecting him to do that with Mac Jones is nah, man. Brady was a different type of guy. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that Mac Jones can't be a good quarterback. It might not, the Patriots might not be the team for him right now. It's unfortunate because I didn't think he was bad. I mean, he's still a young quarterback, and that's the one thing I hate about the NFL is that after 2-3 seasons, they ready to get rid of a quarterback. So
yeah, let's talk about that for a second. There is a lot of pressure on quarterbacks, especially rookie quarterbacks who come in.
Yeah.
What do you think that's? I think that's unhealthy to take someone who's just right out of college and think that they can immediately manage a professional NFL team. I think that's the same kind of hubris Chip Kelly had when he tried to implement a college system into a professional football team.
Yeah.
There's a reason that college is college and professional is professional. There's many differences, not just in the rules, but in the speed of the game. In college, you got a roster of 100 people, and you might have 75 players on your active roster that can actually suit up and play a game. Football teams have 53 players on the team total. That's offense and defense. In college, you're going to face a wide range of talent. Because that's what college is. They have systems where you have a bunch of players. So you're not always going to face the best. Not only that, but in college, like I said, college teams have 70 to 100 and some players on the team, right? How many colleges are there? How many different divisions within the college system is there? You're talking about a much larger pool of athletes. So you're going to face a wider range from the not so good to the very, very good or the elite. And when you go to the NFL, you're facing only the elite all the time, every down, every week. And that's a difference. That's a difference just in the speed of the game, of inside the game. The speed's higher because you're facing a higher caliber quality of athletes. And I think to expect a rookie quarterback to come right from college, to come into a pro team and think that they can just take over and run a team, I think is hubris. I think they need a couple of seasons under a quarterback to learn and to see and to understand. Put them in the throwaway games, you know what I mean? The throwaway times. Let them get used to the speed of the game. Let them see how it is before you start throwing them in the deep end and expecting him to carry a team. That's what happened with in the Jets in New York with Zach Wilson. They tried to take a rookie quarterback. He couldn't carry the team because he didn't know how, because he's trying to learn the game. I mean, and he knows football, of course, but like I said, NFL is different. It's a different beast. So there's a learning curve when you arrive there. And then they tried to bring in Aaron Rodgers to learn under him. Now, Aaron Rodgers destroyed his Achilles and got knocked out, and you can't fault Zach Wilson for that. But the Jets were trying to correct a mistake that they had made. They put Zach Wilson in. He wasn't ready. So let's bring in a veteran quarterback, let him learn under the veteran quarterback for a season or two, and then maybe he'll be ready to take the reins. And I think that's what all rookie quarterbacks need.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But I also feel like, too, depending on the team, if you draft a quarterback high, you got to kind of have him as your starter because he's kind of like your future. You know what I'm saying? Like the Carolina Panthers, they drafted Bryce Young. They shouldn't be expecting success within the first 3 years. And I agree with what you said. Like rookie quarterbacks need a couple years under their belt. I would say at least 5 seasons, really.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody's a Jalen Hurts or a Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
You know, not every quarterback you bring up are those guys, and you also don't know, when you have those guys necessarily either. But and Patrick Mahomes, now I think in 10 years, Patrick Mahomes is in the conversation for the GOAT. I think he's got an amazing career yet still to go, and I think he's going to be in the conversation for the GOAT, to be sure. I think. So that puts him, in my opinion, in a different branch, like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. Those quarterbacks who are the elite of the elite. You know what I mean? That they're the top of the top, the cream of the crop. Thanks, Macho Man. I'll borrow your catchphrase quick. But those guys are separated because of how good they are, but. Not everybody are those players. Not everybody is Steve Young and Brett Favre. Not everybody is those players. Some of them can develop into those caliber of players if they get some seasons to learn and to study under someone. I think helps.
Yeah, I think that helps too. And as far as like the when you was talking about with Zach Wilson, like it's kind of unfortunate that they still trying to throw this man under the bus. First of all, he's in New York, so it's like anything that he does wrong, they gonna criticize him. You know what I'm saying? But he really didn't expect to play much this season because of Aaron Rodgers. And then it's like for people to think that, he's supposed to come into this situation and save the Jets. It's like, to me, it's not fair. I think everything that they've been throwing at him this season is kind of unfair because he wasn't the playing starter anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
he was planning to take a season and learn under Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he was not planning to be a starter. And you got to figure on in game one. I think it might have been the first play and Aaron Rodgers goes down. I mean, that's. You're not prepared for that. You know what I mean? So I think he's been doing a great job carrying the team so far. I mean, he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not doing perfect, but he's doing a great job at leading the team. And every time, even when they lose, they still look hungry. They look like they're in it, like they want to still win, like they're still trying to pull it out. And that's something different that we didn't see in the last couple seasons from the Jets. Is they seemed to want to give up, and I don't like seeing that. What about who is it? The Raiders? Is it the Raiders that just replaced their head coach?
Again? Yeah.
Again?
Right.
Because then they got rid of John Gruden last year in the middle of the season or towards the end of the season or something, but it was still during the season. And now here they are again. They get rid of their coach again in the middle of the season.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels. Yeah,
I mean,
I hope that that's his last head coaching job because that dude is so overrated as a head coach. Now, as a coordinator, he's probably one of the best, but as a head coach, no, nobody needs to sign him. That Belichick umbrella that they keep trying to put out there with these coaches or these teams, stop doing it because it's been dead since what Charlie Weiss, Romeo Cornell, Matt Patricia, and there's probably been a couple more names that of people that coached under Belichick became head coaches and did nothing. So I hope that Josh McDaniels is the last one under the Belichick tree because it ain't working.
isn't that also funny how they do how that happens in the NFL? The coaches like, oh, you're a coach underneath this coach, that makes you a great coach. That's not how it works either.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just because I love that they have these trees, like, oh, this coach was under this coach and that coach was under that coach. Yeah. If you look at the coaching jobs in the NFL today, almost every coach has been underneath another coach at one point in time. Especially when you're talking about the support staff or the coordinators and stuff. There's not many coordinators or coaches that have tenure at this point. You know what I mean? The things that Andy Reid did in Philly and now in Kansas City and Belichick in New England, those are when you have the right combination of players and coaches. That's when you get the longevity at the head coach position. Because most coaches don't last that long. You get 5 or 6 years as a head coach, and if you're not at least competing for the Super Bowl or bringing a Super Bowl home, then you're looking for another job next season. And I think of course the expectations are high. Every team wants a championship, and if you're not getting better, if you're not moving towards that or getting closer to it, then yeah, of course it might be time to shake up the organization and make some changes. But I think too many teams are quick to react at this point.
Yeah, you're right. And nowadays, if a head coach is head coaching a team for 5 or 6 seasons, that's actually a good thing because a lot of them don't last past 3 seasons. But yeah, it's just crazy how like you said, they just quick to overreact over 3 losing seasons. But it could also be too that the coach is just not connecting with the players also. So
yeah, you're right. Not every decision or every coaching change is made because they're not winning or something like that. There could be other factors at play. Absolutely. I just think that the owners or whoever's making the decisions need to just think about the continuity of their team. You know what I mean? Having the same head coach for a long time would be helpful to your team, as long as it is the right head coach. But and that's the balance. You know what I mean? The right head coach. I just think sometimes teams are quick to react a little bit more than they should be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let's talk about. I'm looking for the standings on my other window right now.
Okay.
So the Ravens, they're killing it right now. Let's just do a quick rundown of some of the teams, and then we'll talk about some more about the players.
Okay.
And I mean, dude, the AFC North, except the Bengals, who are dropping off, and man, they got to be ticked off in that town.
Right.
Making it to the Super Bowl, not being able to pull it out, and now you can't even seem to get your engine started again. That's never good. But I mean, the AFC North, man, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Browns, all within a half game of each other, and that's crazy.
Yeah. I think, but Pittsburgh has always been one of those teams that's always in the fight. Mike Tomlin, he always coaches that team well enough to keep them in the fight. Whether you know what I'm saying, and they're never under 500 either. I think he maybe have had one season since he's been their coach where he was under 500. So
yeah, Tomlin, it's good. Yeah, Tomlin, man. How about Mike Tomlin, man? He's got some tenure in Pittsburgh, man. He's been there for a long time.
Yeah, he's been there over 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and Cleveland Cleveland got a pretty good solid defense. I like their defense. But it's just going to be interesting to see how they go moving forward with Deshaun Watson being out. I still think Cincinnati still has a chance because what's their record? 4-5.
Cincinnati 5-4.
5-4. They still.
I mean, they're not. I mean, yeah, they're not out of it. They're only a game. They're only a game behind. But man, the AFC North. I mean, the way it's looking right now, it's going to be the 4 division winners, and then the two wild card spots are going to go to the next 2 teams in the AFC North. If the playoffs were right now, the AFC North would have 3 teams going to the playoffs.
That's.
And the Bengals would miss out at 5-4, just behind them. So yeah, you're right. The Bengals aren't doing terrible. They're just in a division with 3 other teams that are just, crushing it right now. It's I can't believe it.
And the AFC North has always been one of those divisions where it's always fluctuating. You know what I'm saying? Like Baltimore could take 2 losses, but Pittsburgh could win 2 games, and you could see Pittsburgh in first place and Baltimore drop, or you could see Cleveland, go on a streak. And it's always been a up and down division, kind of like how the NFC North was with Chicago, Green Bay, and Minnesota.
Yeah, and Detroit. Yeah, let's talk about the NFC. The Eagles are leading it obviously at 8-1. Destroying everything in their path. And even in the close games, the Eagles, man, they're squeaking it out. They're finding a way to win, and that's all that matters in some of these games. You just got to find a way to win sometimes.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are not doing terrible. They're 6-3. That's not terrible either. But man, that what was it, 2 weeks ago or something? They kind of fell apart. So hopefully that's not going to be a trend or something.
Oh yeah.
The Commanders 4-6. They're trying to hang in there, and the Giants need to go through a couple of rebuilding years before I think we're going to be talking about them again.
Yeah.
The Lions at 7-2. That puts them right behind the Eagles. How about that? What are we saying? The Lions are second in the NFC. Yes, that's what we're saying right now.
Hey, as a Detroit native, it feels good to see my hometown at the top of the conference. Like, it's been a long time coming, and just the way that we've been playing. When we took that loss to Baltimore a couple of weeks ago, we bounced back these last 2 games. So I'm happy with what I'm seeing, and that defense is solid. Continues to get better every week. Jared Goff is, in my opinion, is an MVP candidate.
Jared Goff, man. Oh man, yeah. I'd like to say for Cleveland, but I'm so glad that Detroit was able to get out of the gutter and start turning things around there. That they got the right personnel finally to maybe try and start turning things around there. Because I'll tell you, man, when I heard Jared Goff was going to Detroit, I'm like, oh man, another quarterback goes to Detroit to die. It seemed like, Detroit's had some great quarterback. Stafford, dude, was a great quarterback. He was, I don't know about great, but he was a good quarterback. Stafford was a good quarterback, and
Stafford.
It just seems like in Detroit, talent goes there, and then the city sucks the talent right out of them or something. It seemed for so long. No insult intended there.
Oh, no, right.
But it's good to see them. It's good to see them now turn it around and be right up there at the top of the conference, not just the division. They're right at the top of the conference.
Yeah, if you lived in Detroit and what we had to go through as Lions fans with the whole Matt Millen thing and him bringing in Morningweg, and they talking about the bar is high, and then we fire him. We bring in Steve Mariucci, who was a good coach in San Francisco. He comes to Detroit and brings none of that here. So we went through that. Then Rob Marinelli, that was the coach when we went 0-16. Then after they let him go, Jim
Schwartz. Oh man.
He gave us a little glimpse of okay, you know what I'm saying? The Lions can sneak into the playoffs,
I'll give Schwartz. He tried. He really tried. He wasn't the right guy, but he did try. I believe that he tried. Everybody else you just named was like, who's making the decisions in Detroit? Who's selecting these coaches?
Hey, I ran my Lions team on Madden better than what Mariucci, Morningweg, and Marinelli did with the actual Lions teams. I ran my teams on Madden better than what they did.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Hey, I love Madden. Maybe we'll have to talk about a Madden episode sometime.
Oh yeah, definitely. And another coach that tried for the Detroit Lions, Jim Caldwell. I gotta throw Caldwell in there because the Lions were actually a decent team with Caldwell. It was just, you know what I'm saying? He, like you said, he was the guy, but I don't think he was the guy to get them to where they at right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not only just that, the general manager, the personnel and stuff, you know, drafting the right players. Like our drafts sucked through the years. Like these drafts that we've had, this past draft was like one of the best that we've had in a while, you know.
Yeah. And you guys got some good talent now, and you guys got some of that talent locked in for a good bit. The NFC South is in shambles. The Saints are leading the division at 5-5, and the Saints are nothing special even this year. They're obviously trying to rebuild at this moment right now too. The Saints are, and that's going to be a couple of years. I think they're going to need a couple more years. Teddy Bridgewater is not the future of the Saints.
Teddy Bridgewater, he's the backup for the Lions now. You talking about Winston, Jameis Winston?
Is that who's the Saints now?
Yeah. And then you know they got Carr, the quarterback that used to be with the Raiders.
Derek Carr?
Yeah.
With the Saints. Oh, you're right. I did see that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. You're right. I did see that. I mean, he's not going to be the future of the Saints either. Let's be honest.
No.
Derek Carr. There's nothing wrong with Derek Carr, but there's a reason he was good with the Raiders, but I don't know. That might have been like magic in a bottle. That might have been a one-time, a one-team thing. I don't know if he's going to capture that same success.
But you know what? Honestly, the Raiders should have kept Derek Carr because what did Jimmy Garoppolo do so different than Derek Carr? You know what I'm saying? And Derek Carr and Devontae Adams were actually teammates in college, and they actually got along on the team. And to break that up, to break that chemistry up on offense, I think that was goofy, because Garoppolo.
Well, some of it probably had to do with salary cap issues and stuff. I mean, Derek Carr, Oakland played. Well, the Raiders, they're not in Oakland anymore. They're Vegas now, but they were Oakland then. The Raiders paid Derek Carr a lot of money. You know what I mean? They paid him a lot of money. And when you pay somebody a lot of money and they still can't get you the Super Bowl, like I said, like we talked about earlier, everything's about the Super Bowl. Everybody wants the Super Bowl ring. So, and if you're not getting there, then you got to make some changes. And I think that's what happened with Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a great quarterback, but they couldn't seem to find the right balance of personnel to take him all the way, I guess. And I think Derek Carr is a good quarterback, but I'm thinking between Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, you're probably talking a huge, huge chunk of the salary cap.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because
the Bucs are 4-5, and like I said, Baker Mayfield, he's no Tom Brady, but I believe he is a good quarterback, and I think Baker Mayfield, you give him another season or two in Tampa, you keep building the team around him, you get him some people that he's comfortable with, and I think you're going to see the Tampa Bay, the Bucs back up. I don't know about winning the Super Bowl, but I think they'll be going for another Super Bowl. I think they can go for a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't think Mike Evans is having the greatest season this year with Tampa with Baker Mayfield. Yeah, what do you do? Do you know? What are your thoughts on that? Let me look at. I'm going to try and look at the stats quick.
Okay, I haven't heard too much about him this season.
Mike Evans, yeah.
And the NFC South is one of those divisions. It's kind of like the AFC North. Anybody could win that division depending on who's streaky and who's winning and who's losing.
Yeah, I think I found him here, Mike Evans.
Okay.
He's only got 43 receptions. He's very down. He's very low on the list. He does have 737 yards, 6 touchdowns, 14 passes of 20 plus yards. But I'm curious to know how many of those 20 plus yarders were because he caught a pass under 20 yards and then turned it into a 20 plus yard pass.
Right. I wonder if he's had I think he's had some injuries this season too, so he might have missed some games.
He's had 70 targets. I mean, that's yeah, that's pretty good actually. That's more than I thought he was going to get. Although Stephon Diggs has got 102. He's leading the NFL in targets at 102.
Wow.
But yeah, Mike Evans, he's not too far down on the list. He's got 71 targets. It's just we haven't been hearing too much of him. I don't know that Mike Evans is going to be the Baker Mayfield guy. We'll have to wait and see if that relationship can develop. He seems to like. Oh, he's got 14 touchdowns. Or no, that's the 20 plus yarders. He's only got 6 touchdowns, which is still not bad. 6 touchdowns, but Baker Mayfield, when I was watching them play the Bucs play the other day, it seemed like he was hitting some of the other tight ends in the second and the slot wide receivers. Seems like he was getting some good chemistry with the tight ends and the slot wide receivers.
Okay.
So maybe they'll start turning around here in the second half of the season. The Bucs.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like Baker Mayfield. I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield. I want to see him do good in a place, and I don't think Cleveland. I think Cleveland is the new place for quarterbacks to go to die. So,
yeah, because Deshaun Watson, he got that injury right now. So hopefully, he has his surgery. He can recover from that, and next season, he can be the guy that they want him to be.
Yeah.
The way they paid him, they want him to be the second savior to Cleveland after LeBron.
Yeah. Let's not talk about LeBron. Let's not even get into that. The Panthers are 1-8. What is happening to the Panthers?
They're just a young team. That's all. Young team rebuilding. They got a young quarterback. He's the number 1 pick. Just getting his feet wet. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
Yeah, another one of those.
That's all that is. And I think that.
See, isn't that detrimental though? See, we've been talking about this about how young quarterbacks need a couple seasons to so they can see how the game is in the NFL and stuff. Is this healthy when you take a young quarterback and he doesn't succeed? Yeah, it's great when you have Patrick Mahomes and then he wins you a Super Bowl in his 3rd year. But what happens to Brock Purdy? Is that the Carolina's quarterback, right?
No. Carolina's quarterback is Bryce Young.
Oh, Bryce Young. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I got them confused there for a minute. Bryce Young. Is that health? Isn't that detrimental to Bryce Young's development to go 1-8? What if they only go 1-15? What is that? Is that good for him to experience as a rookie quarterback to go 1-15 in his first NFL season?
I mean, it all depends on his mindset. You know what I'm saying? He, it could be one of those mindsets where, okay, this is my first year. I'm a rookie. Let me go into this off season, work on my game, look at what I did wrong. How can I get better? It's all in the mentality. Now, if you go 1-15 and you just, it's all in your psyche that, you're a bad quarterback, then you're going to have that psyche going into your career possibly, so I just think it depends on the player,
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I just hope that I don't like to see young quarterbacks get into situations like that. I mean, even if your mindset is, even if you got a good mindset, a healthy mindset, I think it can be detrimental to your progression as well as to your mindset. The Cardinals are also 2-8, but they haven't been doing good. The Niners and the Seahawks 6-3. The Seahawks, after getting rid of Russell Wilson, still staying strong. That's impressive. It's not often you see a team that gets rid of their star quarterback and it can still even stay competitive, let alone still in the hunt for even the conference championship.
Yeah. But Seattle also still has their core guys. You know what I'm saying? They still got Metcalf. They still got Lockett. They still got some of the guys that have been on the team for a while on defense. They still shuffle around with some of the running backs, drafting and in free agency. So, and Geno Smith was a guy that was drafted high, drafted by the Jets. You know what I'm saying? Basically got booed out of New York, moved around to a couple of teams, and he's in Seattle, and he's found his, he's been doing good things in Seattle. So it's always hope for a lot of these quarterbacks, and you just got to be in the right situation, right system.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm just looking up some stats now. Let's talk about some player stats.
Okay.
Unless you something, feel free to, if you got something else you'd like to bring up, feel free.
Let me see. Let me just throw something out there. Who right now who's your GOAT for football? Your football GOAT.
Who's the GOAT?
Yeah.
You mean active or are we talking about real GOAT, all time?
Yeah, all time or yeah.
Peyton. At the quarterback position, definitely Peyton Manning. I don't like to do. Peyton Manning. I would probably go with Peyton Manning. I think he runs an offense no matter where he goes. I don't think you need an offensive coordinator when you have Peyton Manning. I think he's both the offensive coordinator and the quarterback. So I don't think you need anything more than that. I don't know why he couldn't win in Indianapolis. I don't know why he couldn't close the deal in Indy and get that championship in Indy. I don't know why that is. But I think Peyton Manning is I would put him as the GOAT. I think Tom Brady is very good, but I think I'm a Peyton Manning fan. I like that he's the offense. I like that he is in charge when he's out there. He's pointing at stuff. He's telling his players what he wants from them. He commands the offense in a way that we don't see other quarterbacks command the offense on the field. And that's what I liked. I like that he didn't even need the coach. You could put him out there. They could go no huddle. He'd run him down the field. That's Peyton Manning, and that's what I like. That's for me as a fan of football. I loved anytime they were in the hurry up offense, 2-minute offense, and Peyton Manning was just in charge. That to me was always some of the most fun to watch him out there and to watch him move up and down the offensive line. I had never seen a quarterback move that much until Peyton Manning. I've always seen a quarterback go under center and he'll call out some commands or point at somebody or something. I've never seen somebody go under center and then stand back up and walk all the way to the side and point at somebody across the field and then walk to the other side and point and holler at his players. He commanded the offense in a way that I don't think other quarterbacks do. And so that for me is why I would select him as the GOAT, at least at the quarterback position.
Okay. That's what's up.
In the running back position, I would have to go Barry Sanders.
Oh yeah.
Nobody else did it. It looked like every time he run the ball, it's like, look at the way he runs. He would just touch a defender and it was like, I don't know if he had superpowers or something, but he would just stiff arm them and then they would just stop right in their tracks, and the way he would spin and juke and move, he had a fluidity about it that was just something that we've never seen before, I don't think. And I don't know that we'll see it again. I think LaShawn McCoy has a similar style, but he doesn't do it as good as Barry Sanders did.
Yeah, I agree. My GOAT is different. My GOAT is actually a wide receiver.
Oh yeah, Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice is the GOAT. Can nobody argue with me about who's the best wide receiver the NFL is? It's Jerry Rice. And this is why I say Jerry Rice is the GOAT. Out of all the quarterbacks that have played in this league, eventually somewhere down the line, they get surpassed. The great Joe Montana, when he had 4 or 5 Super Bowl rings, he got that got passed up by Tom Brady. It's gonna happen. The quarterback position, those guys get surpassed. The running back position, but nobody has surpassed the wide receiver position. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has came close to breaking Jerry Rice's records. They still intact. You know what I'm saying? And even he got the Super Bowl rings, and he's been a Super Bowl MVP. So, that's my reason why I think Jerry Rice is the GOAT when it comes to football. And he played up until he was 43. So
yeah, he did play a long time. Oh my goodness, you might be right here. At least in receiving yards, he is leading in receiving yards.
Yep.
I mean, leading is as an understatement.
I told you, like.
Okay. He also holds a record for postseason yards as well. Just in a very quick search that I'm doing. So yeah, like, and he's got in career receiving yards, he's got a healthy lead.
Yeah. No, nobody right now is coming close, and I don't think nobody will come close to breaking that record.
Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald, and he was great, was second, and he's still about 5,000 yards behind Jerry Rice. Oh, okay, and he leads touchdowns.
Yep, leads touchdowns too.
According to my initial search, I didn't get to, I normally when I give stats on my podcast, I'll confirm by, looking up 2 or 3 sources and making sure they have the same number. I don't have the time to do that right this second. But according to my initial search, he's got 197 touchdowns. Randy Moss is in second with 156. So that's 41 touchdowns less than Jerry Rice had. Let's see. We did career yards. We did touchdowns.
What about receptions?
Oh, receptions. Oh, I'm pretty sure he was leading receptions too, actually. Let's see if he owns any season records. All right. Well, he does not lead this individual season, but he's 4th.
Okay.
Which is not terrible at all. In terms of all time, in terms of season. I mean, that's an individual season, which it's reasonable to understand. I was looking to see if they have another one, but no, that was it. So he doesn't lead the individual season yards, but he does lead
career yards.
Career yards. And I think he leads the touchdowns. He leads career touchdowns. He leads career yards, and he's second in season touchdowns. Randy Moss actually has him by 1 touchdown in season touchdowns. So,
okay.
but he's 4th in the highest amount of season yards, and he's second in most touchdowns for wide receiver in a season. He leads all time career yards. He leads all-time career. I think he leads career receptions, and he leads the career touchdowns. So he leads career yards, career touchdowns, and he's right up there in the top 5 for both season yards and season touchdowns.
Yep. And none of those records, you would have to play a very long time, and you'd probably have to average at least 1,800 yards receiving a year to catch up with Jerry Rice.
Oh yeah, he beats Larry Fitzgerald in receptions.
Dang.
By more than 115.
Woo. See, that's why I say he's the GOAT, man.
And I don't think that anybody would be able to argue that point either. Just because of the stats that I looked up. I mean, in career career yards, he's more than 5K ahead of Larry Fitzgerald. In career touchdowns, he's got a healthy lead. In receptions, he's got a lead. He's got a lead in all of the career stats. He may not be the record holder for the individual season stats anymore, but he is the career record holder for many of the wide receiver stats. So that's crazy. And he's led by a good bit, especially in the yards and in the receptions and the touchdowns. He's got healthy leads. Someone's got to have an unbelievable season to break Jerry Rice's record.
Unbelievable career.
Career. Yeah. You're right.
And then that's not even including what he got 4 Super Bowl rings. 4 Super Bowl rings.
3? Was it 3?
He might have
been 4. No, you're right. It would have been 4. Yeah.
And then he got a Super Bowl MVP. So that's why I say he's the GOAT. He might not have as many as Tom Brady, but I just think at that position.
Hey, you know what? Tom Brady may have Super Bowl rings. Okay, he may have Super Bowl rings, but if you look at the record books, you're not going to find him anywhere except that. That fact. I did an episode last year on like the top 5 quarterbacks and stuff. Tom Brady's not even close. If I'm remembering correctly, in touchdowns or in career touchdowns, yards, passing attempts, his completion percentage. He's not in the top 5 for any of those stats for his career. Okay. Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, they're the top 2 for most of those stats. And then who was the other one? It was Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. I can't remember who the other third quarterback was, but Tom Brady wasn't really. He's got a couple of the season stuff. He's got some of the season records, but he doesn't have the career records. I'll check that out sometime. We'll have to do another episode. Maybe we'll do some top 5 episodes on football players. Rank each position or something.
Okay.
Look for that in the future. Of course, first I have to put together Mike D's Mount Rushmore of wrestling, which I have to do. I got a lot of production work on my list of work to do. So that's why a live episode here is great, because then there's no production. It's already posted.
Right.
I think I don't know where I was going next. So you think Jerry Rice is the GOAT? I would pick Peyton Manning, at least at quarterback. I mean, I don't know that I would see. I don't know how to pick a greatest player of all time when it comes to football.
Yeah, because there's so many positions. Because it's like you could say Peyton Manning, you could say Barry Sanders, you could say Deion Sanders, you could say Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to pick like a GOAT like of all time. Although Jerry Rice is a great pick. I think Peyton Manning would be a great pick. Drew Brees would still be a decent pick. And even Tom Brady wouldn't be a terrible pick for your GOAT. Lawrence Taylor, like you said, I mean, he's probably the greatest linebacker of all time.
Montana.
What?
Joe Montana.
Yeah, Joe Montana. Yeah, I mean, I like to break it down by position. I don't think I could pick just like a GOAT of all time. In basketball you can do something like that, I think, but in football I don't think. There's too much change between the positions.
Yeah.
Too much different requirements. Stats aren't the same at every position in my opinion. So you can't go by a GOAT all time and then try and line up stats. How do you compare wide receiver stats to quarterback stats, or wide receiver stats to sacks and interceptions? So I don't, it's hard to do that. So I don't like doing like a GOAT all time or the greatest player of all time kind of a thing. I like to do it by position. Though, and Jerry Rice would likely be my pick for wide receiver though. There's few that I don't know anybody else at wide receiver probably that I would pick. And in fact, the stats would say the only other names that I would likely throw in the conversation are the 2 that are trailing him in most of these stats, Larry Fitzgerald and Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Those would be the only 2 names that I would even throw in the conversation, and I would still select Jerry Rice.
Maybe even T.O.
No, not T.O. Listen, I appreciate that he came to Philadelphia, that he was an Eagles fan. Listen, he doesn't have no loyalty to no team. There's no reason for any of the fans to have any loyalty to him. You know what I mean? He went right to Dallas after leaving Philadelphia, after all the shenanigans he pulled when he was in an Eagles uniform when they played Dallas. And then they ended up picking him up anyway. So he doesn't matter. He's going to the highest bidder. So I thought maybe with him and Donovan McNabb they could win a Super Bowl for us, but they couldn't. So I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge T.O. fan. So no, I wouldn't include him in the conversation. He's a good wide receiver. He was great, but he's also a diva.
Yeah.
So
what about Marvin Harrison?
Marvin Harrison, he's good. I don't know about GOAT though. He's good, but I don't know if he'd be the GOAT. But he is good. I mean, he definitely. I think he would be in the conversation too. I think you could include him in the conversation too.
Yeah. Him and Peyton had some pretty good years. They got a Super Bowl together. So
yeah. Yes, they did. A lot of the players that played with Peyton, man. I mean, Dallas Clark in Indianapolis. I mean, he's got some unbelievable tight end stats, dude. He's on the record all over the record books too there with that. You get the good quarterback. You get chemistry with a quarterback, and it can be your friend, especially at the tight end position.
Hey, I was just about to say, like, that tight end, best tight end of all time conversation is starting to get interesting because you got Grunt, you got Kelsey, you got Kittle.
Those three would definitely be into it. I would probably also throw in there. I would definitely throw in there Dallas Clark for Indianapolis.
And then you got guys from back in the day: Tony Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp.
I'm
trying to think of somebody else.
Both of those guys are excellent examples, though, of past tight ends who really kind of changed the position. I mean, the tight end was never really a wide receiver position. Really, it was like, no one's open, throw it to the big guy, or he was always a blocker. Other than Tony Gonzalez and Shannon Sharp, they were the first ones to really change the tight end position to be more of a receiver than just another big guy out there to block. So.
Yep.
The game itself has evolved, and it's players like that have changed those positions. You mentioned Lawrence Taylor earlier in the GOAT conversation. He changed linebacking forever.
Yeah.
Linebacking was just like the middle layer of linemen. You know what I mean? It was like having a second row of linemen. He changed what linebackers were supposed to do or what they were capable of doing, in his career. So now you see linebackers are all over the field. They're in coverage. They're deep in coverage. You got linebackers on wide receivers. You got linebackers blitzing. Linebackers have become like a multi-purpose position, I think, because of players like Lawrence Taylor and others who changed the position.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then that's just even with Deion Sanders at the cornerback position. You know what I'm saying? What he was able to do. Of course, there have been other good cornerbacks like Darrelle Revis.
So some of my favorites were Eagle corners, Bobby Taylor, and I'm totally drawing a blank on the other guy's name now. He's one of my favorites. So I'm totally drawing a blank on it. Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor for the Eagles. They were Brian Dawkins. Talk about changing the safety position.
Yeah,
you want to talk about changing positions? Brian Dawkins, man, he really he kind of brought a notice to the safety position. You know what I mean? Like where now the safety is kind of like the linebackers. You can blitz them; they can be in coverage. I mean, Dawkins was all over the field, man.
Yeah, and even Rod Woodson.
Yeah,
he played cornerback in
Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson. Yeah, I don't even.
Yeah, I mean he was I think Rod Woodson. No, I think Rod Woodson is another player. He might have been a safety though. I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. But Charles Woodson, some of these players they changed the defenders position, the corners and safeties. When you got players that can intercept the ball and then have a potential to return it for 6 points, that's big. And because of those guys, the returners, you know what I mean? You started seeing, they were picking balls off and you saw what they could do with the football. And then they're like, yo, let's put Dion in on punt return and see what he can do on punt return, and now he's a punt returner and a kick returner. So it's players that change the position. I think that should be in the conversation for any GOAT, any position you're talking about, whether it's quarterback or linebacker or running back or wide receiver. It's about the players that changed what that position was supposed to be. Those are the players that should be talked about for the GOAT. Brady's great. He didn't do anything to change the quarterback position, in my opinion. Peyton Manning showed you that he didn't even need the coach on the sideline. He don't even need the coordinator on the sideline. All he needs is 10 other guys with him on the field, and he can run that offense. That is why I select him as the GOAT, because I think he may not have changed the game in a way that people were like, well, look at what he can do. Let's try and copy that. But is there anybody else that has ever been able to do that? Is there anybody else out there that could run an entire drive without talking to his coaches or receiving plays or anything? I don't know that there is. I think even now, look, you see the quarterbacks, they all got the play sheets right on their wrists, right? They all got the wrist guards. They can look at the play sheet right on their wrist. Peyton Manning didn't have no play sheet on his wrist. Yeah. He was calling that shit on the fly, So that's what I'm saying. That's to me, like, it's players that change the position or do something different that can't be duplicated by anybody else yet.
Right. I get you.
So that's why, and Jerry Rice is definitely one of those people. He changed, and I mean, he showed what wide receivers were capable of. Without Jerry Rice, who knows if we have the high flying passing offense that we have in today's NFL. It wasn't until Jerry Rice started doing it in the 80s and the early 90s that teams started doing that more. The West Coast offense was born with Jerry Rice and Steve Young and Joe Montana. They invented the West Coast offense. That's why it's called the West Coast offense.
Yep.
So,
they had Bill Walsh as they coach.
What? They
had Bill Walsh as they coach over in San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, I mean, and there you go. A coach who likely changed the game. It was his offense, probably. It was his offense with Steve Young or Joe Montana, Jerry Rice that created the West Coast offense. So he essentially created the West Coast offense with these guys and changed the NFL. Through the 90s, it was the team's doing the West Coast offense now with multiple variations and different formations that you're accustomed to seeing. Now, every team. When's the last time you saw someone run in an I formation or a pro set formation? They don't even use them anymore. They don't even use the generic formations anymore. They're all weird formations with 5 guys on one side and nobody on the other, or 3. And then it's always some crazy, weird formations now. It's nothing's like it used to be even in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And then you got all these the Wildcat offense that they doing now, which I hate that.
You hate the Wildcat?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was just goofy to me. Like I didn't care too much for it, but I do like that some of the teams are bringing the flea flicker back though. That reminded me back when I used to play Tecmo Ball.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's way back. Yeah. And I don't have a problem with the Wildcat as long as you have something legitimate like a running back or a wide receiver that can throw the ball.
Yeah.
It's these Wildcat offenses that when you put the running back there and for a fact he ain't going to throw that. He's just getting a direct snap so that he can run the ball straight forward, and you're just taking the quarterback right out of the equation. So like that's not the Wildcat. If you don't have a player who's capable of throwing and running, then you're not doing nothing. That's not no Wildcat. All you're doing is doing a direct snap to the running back and he's running it. That's not Wildcat. You know what I mean? That's the Wildcat is when you have somebody in there that can do something, like you can throw the ball or you can, do something more than just take the snap and run forward. That's not a Wildcat. That's called a run. It's called a QB sneak. I don't know why, because you put the running back in the quarterback position and all of a sudden it becomes Wildcat. He runs it 2 yards and it's from the Wildcat position. It's no Wildcat position. The man ran a QB sneak. The running back ran a quarterback sneak. That's what you just watched. Get off this Wildcat.
Yeah.
So, who are you? What are you thinking? Let's talk about the Super Bowl quick. We talked about it in our last episode. I honestly don't remember who we selected, but what are you thinking? What are you thinking for the Super Bowl?
AFC. I'm gonna pick. This is interesting.
I know the AFC is tough. And the Dolphins. I mean, even the
AFC.
Dolphins are leading the AFC East. The Bills are only 5-5. What the heck is happening in Buffalo?
Yeah. I'll just say I'll do this. My final four for the
Sure. Do
the
championships.
NFL,
That's cool.
I do that. Kansas City, and I'll go Kansas City and Miami for the AFC. And for the NFC, I'm gonna go Philadelphia and Detroit.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I that's what I would pick for the NFC as well. I would pick the Eagles and the Lions. I think they're the best teams right now. The Niners are close. They could maybe pull an upset, but I'm thinking it's going to be the Lions and the Eagles and the NFC Championship. And the AFC Championship, it's going to be the Chiefs. And I think it'll be the Ravens. I think the Dolphins are doing great. I think they're playing really well, but I don't know if Tua. I don't know. I want to see how Tua handles the playoffs in a big game situation, because Tua is going to have to beat either Lamar Jackson and the Ravens or Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in order to get to the Super Bowl. So I don't think Tua can do that. I don't think he can beat both of them. I don't know that he can beat either one. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So I would choose for the AFC. I think I'd probably go with the Chiefs and the Ravens. And the NFC, I would definitely go the Eagles and the Lions. So we'll definitely have to see. I'm pretty sure the Eagles and the Lions were at least our picks for the NFC Championship in our first episode, being that they were our teams and they're both playing good. So I'm sure that there are picks from the first episode we did this year for football. We'll see how right we are.
And it's going to be interesting because it's like Detroit, depending on how the seeding goes, you know what I'm saying? Like if somehow Philly and San Francisco could play each other, I think that would be not an easy, but I think Detroit could get to the conference championship. But San Francisco got to get past Seattle too, because Seattle right now is leading that division, right?
Yeah. I don't think that they're going to. Oh, that's in the NFC. I'm sorry, I'm looking on the wrong side now. Who are we talking about? The Seahawks?
Yeah.
Seahawks are tied with the Niners right now. The NFC West, they're both 6-3. Yeah, they're both 6-3. So yeah, they're definitely gonna be there. They're definitely gonna be there. But I'm thinking Detroit and Philly will pull it out against them. Honestly, it'll likely be, Philly. The Eagles will likely play one of those teams, and then the Lions are likely going to face another. The Seahawks and the Niners will likely face the Lions and the Eagles before the Eagles and the Lions face each other.
Yeah.
So,
and then
although it depends on the records and the seeding, so you never know. We're too early yet for seeding and knowing who's going to face who in the playoffs. But I could definitely see the Lions and the Eagles making it to the championship. Definitely.
Yeah, me too. And then it also depends on who's hot at that time, because it's like Philly could be a number, they probably end up being the number one seed, but they could end up in the second round playing against the lower seeded team. And if that lower seeded team is hot, they could end up putting out the Eagles. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just, football is one of those things where it's like, it's just up in the air. You don't know, it's always something different every week.
Yeah. But yeah, we made our predictions. We'll see how right we are. We're what is it? We're on week 10 right now, I think, actually, aren't we?
I think we're about to go into week 11.
Yeah. We're about to go into week 11. I should look at the schedule. Let me check out the schedule. Week 11. So I honestly, we probably won't do another episode. Mike D and I probably won't do another football episode until we get to the postseason. Probably, you think, right?
Okay. So that's
just because Thanksgiving's coming up. I got a lot of episodes coming up for my sister show. So I don't know that Mike D and I will get together for another NFL episode before the playoffs. But we will definitely do one for the playoffs, and we will definitely try and do one. We've tried to do one. We've tried to do one in the past years for the Super Bowl. We've tried to do one right after the Super Bowl. We talked about trying to do our own halftime episode where we go live during halftime to talk about it. So we're not sure what we're going to do yet, but we'll likely do something special if Mike D is down, and we'll try and get Mizpah into it on Super Bowl Sunday and shoot something on Super Bowl Sunday, either before, during, or after the game. So we'll likely have at least 2 more football episodes coming for you this year.
all right, cool, smooth.
So stay tuned for that. Oh, I forgot Thursday Night Football is playing right now. We missed that because we're shooting this episode. The Ravens are actually beating the Bengals right now, 27-3 is the current score. They're in the third quarter, and that's it. So, and the Ravens, they're tough. But other games coming up. Let's see, the Cowboys and the Panthers. Gee, I wonder who's going to win that game. The Steelers and the Browns. That's going to be a head-to-head showdown. That's going to be a head-to-head showdown for sure. That's going to be on CBS. Make sure you tune into that. The Steelers and the Browns, both 6-3. They're in the same division. That's going to be a tough game.
That's gonna be straight defense right there. Straight defense.
Yeah, definitely. Bears and the Lions. I imagine the Lions are going to pull that out. The Bears are 3-7, and they don't even know how to. They have trouble just getting out of the huddle and getting up to the line of scrimmage right now. The Bears do, so they're in turmoil.
Right.
Chargers and the Packers. Meh. Packers are rebuilding. Chargers are still kind of also rebuilding. Justin Herbert's good, but he's not ready. They don't have all the personnel they need yet with the Chargers. So that might be a good game, but Texans and the Cardinals, that's a throwaway game.
Yeah.
We got the Titans and the Jaguars. Jaguars are 6-3. The Jaguars are 6-3, man. Doug Peterson. Yeah. What have I been saying? I don't know if I've been saying it to you, but I've been saying it to other people here. That I see on a more daily basis, dude. Doug Peterson, man. The Philadelphia. I appreciate what I'm totally drawing a blank on the Eagles. Nick Sirianni. I totally respect what Sirianni is doing in Philadelphia. I appreciate what he's doing with Jalen Hurts. I appreciate that we have a great team who is potentially going to get us back to the Super Bowl again. I appreciate all of that. I like all of that. Okay, Doug Peterson won us a Super Bowl, and then we got rid of him. Now he's in Jacksonville, and they're 6-3. He's going to bring Jacksonville a Super Bowl. He will. Doug Peterson will bring Jacksonville a Super Bowl. And when it happens, I'm going to tell everybody I possibly know that I told you so. We shouldn't have gotten rid of Doug Peterson. We should have kept Doug Peterson. I appreciate what Nick Sirianni's doing. I appreciate that he was able to turn things around pretty quickly with Jalen Hurts, and that he's developed into a great quarterback who's likely going to be our quarterback for a long time. He's maybe even going to win us another Super Bowl or 2 for our franchise, and that's great. We should have never gotten rid of Doug Peterson. That was a huge mistake, and he's going to win Jacksonville a Super Bowl. He is going to do it. Mark my words.
Hey, Jacksonville is one of those teams that's under the radar. I kind of look at them like what the Lions are doing right now.
Yeah, because for so many years they weren't doing very well. So you don't think about them, and then even at 6-3, you're like, they'll find a way to mess it up. They'll end up, 6-8 by the end of the season or whatever. But dude, Doug Peterson, man, Doug Peterson is the shit. He's a very smart man. He's a good head coach. He knows what he's talking about, and he's bringing a Super Bowl trophy to Jacksonville.
Hey, we shall see. Hey, that's the home of AEW, so we shall see.
Yeah, you're right. The Tony Khan, his father owns Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tony Khan owns AEW. I guess technically the Khan family owns the Jaguars because Tony Khan does a lot with Jacksonville too, or with the Jaguars too. But I mean, the Jaguars are clearly his dad's football team, and AEW is clearly his organization. So while I know Tony Khan does do things with the Jaguars, he's not like the guy. But yes, you're right. It is the same family. Yeah, the same people are involved with that. Yeah, the Giants and the Commanders. The Giants are, who cares? The Bucks and the Niners. That's going to be a tough game for Baker Mayfield and the Bucks against the Niners. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, especially now that the 49ers just grabbed Chase Young, and he on that defensive line with Bosa.
No shit.
Yeah, that's gonna be scary. That's
wow. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, you're right. The Niners are going to be tough for the end of the year. Then, jeez. The Jets and the Bills. That should be a decent game, man. You know what, dude? The Jets with Aaron Rodgers and everything, and all this stuff with Zach Wilson, and we were talking about that in that episode, dude. The Jets still being 4-5, dude. That's great. That is great for the head coach. That's great for Zach Wilson and the organization that they're still 4-5. They should be very proud of that.
Yeah, and it seems like that door is starting to close on Buffalo.
Yeah, Josh Allen, man, he can't do just like we were talking about with rookie quarterbacks. Though, Josh Allen, he's not a rookie quarterback. He's a veteran at this point, but he can't do the whole thing on his own. He can't carry the whole team. He's got to have someone to throw to. He's got to have someone to hand it off to, and they got some decent running backs. Devin Singletary, he's a good running back, but I think they need to do some wide receiver and tight end work for Josh Allen in the offseason. If they want to keep Josh Allen, I think you got to get him some better targets. I think you got to get him some people to throw to. And please, for the love of everything, get him some people that can block so the man can sit in the pocket and find a wide receiver.
Yeah. And then I don't know what's going on with Stephon Diggs, but I know his brother got on social media and was saying that he need to leave Buffalo. So,
See, yeah, that's what you need. Buffalo. I hope Josh Allen, if it falls apart in Buffalo, I hope Josh Allen gets out of there. And the Eagles and the Chiefs are playing Monday Night Football. How about that?
Oh yeah, that's
the Eagles and the Chiefs for Monday night. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to watch that ESPN game.
yeah, everybody's gonna be watching that. The entire world's gonna be watching that. That's gonna be a good one. Super Bowl rematch. You got the two top quarterbacks, two top teams, two good coaches. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be a good matchup.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where we are going to end this episode. We've been talking for over an hour now, and I usually like to keep them for under an hour. So we should probably wrap this up. We'll be back. We'll definitely have Mike D on again. Hopefully we're going to try and have him on again for another wrestling episode, but we'll definitely have him on again for more football episodes in the postseason, or maybe right before the postseason. And then we're going to try and do something for Super Bowl Sunday as well. So stay tuned for that. We will have other episodes coming up here around Thanksgiving time, so stay tuned for us. You can find us on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. Just search Mayhem Media. Follow Mike D and Wrestling from the 313. He's also on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, Instagram. Follow him on all his places. Just search Wrestling from the 313, and you can find him. Definitely on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. He's trying to grow that channel. And definitely on Facebook. Hit that follow button on Facebook. And we're also on Facebook. Make sure you hit the share button. Share out this episode so they can reach more people. We're trying to grow the brand. And our storefront, pick yourself up a t-shirt, pick yourself up some apparel. Bonfire.com/store/JD Designs. That's with a Z at the end of it. For Mike D and Wrestling from the 313, I am your host of Mayhem Media, JD. And that's the end.
Peace.